What's up, guys? I'm Agent Shadow, and today we're going to be talking about the best modules to use in Pixel Gun 3D. So modules is something that doesn't get discussed that much when it comes to YouTube videos. People don't usually mention them much, but they're super, super important. I remember many years ago when I did not have good modules at all, it felt very, very hard to actually play competitively because you really do have to have good modules. And so in this video, I'm going to give you some tips on which modules to use and how to get the right modules. So first off, there is now a new change to Pixel Guns somewhat recently where they now have module chests in the Pixel Pass, which I think is awesome. This will help a lot of players who do not have max modules, which is probably like 99% of the player base. So make sure to finish the entire Pixel Pass because the module chests are definitely useful. And then the main way of getting modules, of course, is clans. When I was trying to get modules, I was focusing on the module chest. That was basically all I spent my silver on. So if you need modules, definitely be buying this chest. I'm sure most of you already are. And then, of course, winning the war or getting the victory chest or whatever does give you some module parts, which is always very useful. And then there are the ways you can specifically get it, which are in the black market, where you can buy for specifics. I already have all the modules, so that I don't get those offers anymore. But you should come here frequently, and I would like to, this is what you kind of need to do. Before you start buying any modules you see, if you have the resources, buy as many slots as you can so you have as many options as possible, and then refresh so that you have a bigger variety of options. This is something I have always done when I was collecting modules. So come here for the specific parts you need, refresh it as many times as you need to get the right ones. And now let's get to the actual modules themselves. So when it comes to the three main damage categories, you've got kinetic, energy, and magic. There is no actual difference between these. The only reason they have three different kinds is because of anti-modules. You have modules on your weapons and then your armor. Your armor can have one of these three, and whichever one it has, it reduces the damage from that same category when connected to a weapon. So if I've got magic modules on my armor, all magic module weapons will do less damage to me. So that's the only point. So that's why, first off, it's important to spread out your modules. If we can check my loadout right now, haven't even checked. I've got energy, my backup's got magic, melee, kinetic, energy, magic, and kinetic. So I've got an even space, 2, 2, 2. That's important because if someone has anti-modules, which they most likely will, that only affects 2 out of 6 of my guns. So the first tip, make sure you spread it out. Don't use all of one kind. I've done that before where I've had 5 kinetic module weapons, someone had kinetic armor, and it took forever to kill them. It was just really, really, really hard. Again, I would recommend, if you don't have many max modules or any at all, focus on upgrading one damage kind of each category. But now let's talk about the abilities that these modules can have. So for primary, if you're going to upgrade one, like I said, there's no actual difference, but I would advise going with the energy module. This one's the best because of its combo. When you have the energy module plus the butt of the rifle and the upgraded magazine, these three together give you increased damage and pierces the target. So you get this ability when you hold the weapon for long enough. This is the best module ability for primary, in my opinion. There's another one that gives you like unlimited ammo for a short period of time, which is nice. But when it comes to shotguns and most very powerful guns, you want this one. And so then again, also the tactical vest, it gives you extra ammo, but it's not actually that important. Bullet dispersion, this one's super important, especially for shotguns. It basically reduces spread, so you want this one for sure. And then reload acceleration is also very useful. And then for backup, again, this one also doesn't matter too much. But here, let me actually dissect it real quick, and you can see all the different combos that are useful. So we've got this one with the energy, deals chain damage to multiple targets. Again, this ability is fine, but not amazing. And then we've also got this one with kinetic, every shot delivers a critical hit. This one's good. I like this one. This is an ability you have to tap. Once you've held the backup for a long enough period of time, you can hit that button and all of a sudden all your shots are critical. So this one is good. And then we got this one which works with either module, doesn't actually matter. Gives a chance to recover health after a critical hit. This one's a passive one, so you don't have to hit the button or anything. So all these abilities are useful in certain ways. So for backup, I don't think it's that important. I usually use kinetic for backup, but that's just my personal preference. Like I said, just pick one of the damage modules and upgrade those one at a time. Just focus on that. And then when it comes to these other three modules, Magazine size, this one's helpful. This is how much ammo you can hold, not for reloading, but initial amount. This one, especially for players who use the pulling sucker gun, which I did a lot. This one, if you have the magazine module maxed out, you get 2 pulling sucker shots instead of 1, which is insane. Just so you guys know, this was my second max module, the drum magazine. This one I focused on for forever so I could have the double shot for the pulling sucker gun. But anyway, this one's very useful for the amount you have. Speeds up your reload time. This one is the one I use the least, but it's still very useful. And this one gives a critical hit chance. 15% is pretty good. So backup's the one I think is it's very debatable which ones you need to choose and which ones you don't. But typically I would recommend my main combo is kinetic, magazine size, and lucky bullet. We've talked about backup. Now we're getting on to the melee. So again, it doesn't really matter which damage one you use, but there are some important side ones you need. The most important one by far is the alloy movement speed plus 10%. It increases your movement speed just by holding the weapon. This is super important. If you're doing grapple or 3-cat or just casual, movement speed with your melee is very important. So this one I would also recommend, even if you don't have it that highly upgraded, use it. This one's important. This one right here increases your weapon's damage radius. This one's, it's a helpful module. I think all the melee ones are helpful, but in general, unless you're just kind of spamming your melee, if your melee is not one of the top 2 weapons you're using with your loadout, don't use the Astral Blade. Damage radius isn't that important then. And then attack speed. This one is very important. If you get this maxed out, increases by 35%. If you're a dash weapon user, this thing is crazy. So especially for dash weapons, if you have a combination of the alloy and the shiv, you're moving faster and dashing faster, which is extremely useful. And then for the modules, I use kinetic a lot just because of the vampirism effect, where you recover damage, you recover health based on the damage you do. So this one's useful. I don't think there are any super useful melee abilities that are game breaking. Let me check real quick. I remember temporarily protects from long distance attacks. This one's useful, but again, not game breaking. So it just comes down to preference. And let me check what magic ones there are. Not with this one, is it? Here we go. Yes, increases movement speed after an enemy is defeated. This one's useful, but again, not super important. I would recommend either using the kinetic or the magic combo when you're using dash weapons. So yeah, these are the important ones for the melee, and then we get to the special. So the special ones are very niche. When you have the battery, I use this one the most. Increases the amount of ammunition for your weapon. This one's very useful. This one, Voodoo Doll. This is the one I use the least, but that does not mean it's bad. This one is very useful. If you're using things like flamethrowers or just very spammy special weapons that have bleeding, burning, or poison effect, you want to use this because it increases the duration of those effects by 100% when you max it out. So doubles it. This one is very useful, but only when you're using very spammy specials. If you're 3-catting or grappling, you want to use the other 2. And then this one, Oil Can, speeds up your weapon's reload time. When you're maxed out, 60% reload speed. So especially for grapple weapons, this thing, super important. It reloads way, way quicker. And for the combos, in my opinion, the best one is the energy one, because when you hold it long enough, you scatter some mines around, which is very useful. I use this one for the grapple weapons a lot, because as soon as I'm reloading, I'm in midair. This clip just kind of flies somewhere and does damage to someone nearby occasionally. So useful, but again, not that great. And then there's this one, the magic combo right here, where you use the voodoo, the max clip capacity, and magic. You get deals lightning damage in the area around the player. If you're spamming your special weapon, then I would go with this combination. But again, not super essential which one you use. My main recommendation is that you always have the max clip capacity, because this one is pretty important for special weapons. Now we're moving on to the sniper. This one is a lot more black and white. So I'll go ahead and tell you the one that's not that important is the lenses. Better lenses increase the aiming range. Basically, this helps with your scope. And the scope is already pretty well designed. You don't really need a module to enhance it. It'll make it slightly better, but not that great. So this one, I don't know. I don't really use this one ever. Individually, this module is very unhelpful, but it is essential for the best sniper combo. I don't really use the abilities for the sniper because they're just not that useful, but there is one that is not bad and you need the lens. So if you remove, it doesn't actually, you have to remove this one. If you get this one and, nope, not that, sorry. And the lens temporarily gives X-ray vision. So again, it doesn't actually matter what sniper you have, but preferably one that has wall penetration. If you have one of those and you hold your sniper long enough, you can activate this and you can see all your opponents through the walls for a few seconds. So if you really want that ability, this is the combo you need. The rest of the sniper combos aren't that important. So go with whichever damage one you need. Whichever one you're closest to, I would recommend upgrading that most. Then you have increases the sniper's scope stability. Stability factor is important. This one helps a lot, so you want to use that. And then decreases recoil when shooting, also very useful. If your gun has too much recoil, it can be a pain to keep shooting, so you also want to use the muzzle brake. For heavy, actually this might be the clearest one. For heavy, go kinetic. Even if you've got higher ones of the other two damage ones, go kinetic because you need this combination. You need the kinetic, you need the damage radius, and the rocket speed all together because when you're holding your heavy, as soon as you die, it creates an explosion right where you died. And there have been so many times where I'm flying around or I'm shooting people, I know I'm about to go down, so I rocket jump or hold my heavy right as I run into the enemy team and then blow up and take a few of them with me. So this one is useful. Definitely go with this combo. This one is, I feel like non-negotiable. Most people use this one. And not only is it the best combo, the side modules you have are also way better. Damage radius plus 50%, that basically just means your explosions are even bigger, which is obviously extremely useful. You want to use this one for sure. And rocket speed, 60%. I remember trying this with and without, like a heavy weapon with this module and then without. Crazy difference. You want your rocket speed a lot faster. So also jet fuel, very useful. And then reload time, I mean, it's really, you can take it or leave it, not that big of a deal. So definitely go with these three. This is the combo you want. And finally, for your armor, this is another one where it's very clear. Of the damage ones, doesn't matter. I would recommend alternating though, in case you run into the same people, they can catch the pattern. If they notice you always have energy, they're going to switch their modules. So I try to mix these up occasionally. And then the other parts, you want the acceleration module for sure. Basically, you can move faster. You want the camouflage, hides your character's outline from enemies. This is pretty good. This makes it a lot harder for people to see you across the map and then snipe you. This other module really isn't that useful. Provides armor regeneration, but very, very minimally, and it takes a long time. And by the time you've had any substantial amount recovered, you're probably dead. So for armor, go with whatever damage one you want of the three main ones. And then I would recommend the accelerator and camouflage. So that's all for this video. I really hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, make sure to comment below and I will try to respond to as many as I can. If you make any purchases in the PG3D hub, make sure to use my code Agent Shadow. Also, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.